Good evening and welcome to Microbrew Gamers. In tonight's episode, we're going to be reviewing a yummy white IPA fresh slice from Otter Creek Brewing Company in Vermont. And we're going to be checking out some hardware tonight instead of a game. But it's the Hyperkin Retron HD1. I just received it. I pre-ordered it and just received it in the mail today. So we're going to take a look at how that works and see if that's any good. Okay, now to get to this. This fresh sliced beer is a white IPA, and it's 5.5% alcohol by volume with a IBU of 45, so it's mid-range in bitterness. So it's not too bitter, but it's more a little bit crisp. They added notes of orange and citrus, which makes this a very nice summer beer. And being a low alcohol volume, it's easy to just sit there and drink on a hot day and not get too dehydrated, too drunk, too quick. It's really good social beer, so nice. Kick back, relax in summer evenings. It's good IPA. Now, the Otter Creek Brewing Company in Vermont is a very responsible company that focuses on sustainability and being eco-friendly. So pretty much, they donate the hops and the yeast to local farmers that's spent to be used as fertilizers, and the spent grain goes to feed local cows, so to dairy farms in the community. So it helps give the farmers a helping hand and greatly reduces, waste and trash and everything else. So it's really cool that they do that. And they're a popular beer. Their beers are available throughout the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic regions, and they've been growing pretty big since they opened up. In 2010, they've added 6 fermenters and an additional 30,000 barrels to the capacity. 2016, so just last year, they opened a brand new 120-barrel brew house and added an additional 9,000 square feet to their floor, which is awesome. Now, this particular beer of theirs is an IPA or Indian Pale Ale, and this is for those of us that didn't catch my previous talk on IPAs, but this was originally created in England. And it's a hoppy style beer, which basically lies in the category of pale ales. Today's pale ales, which have a little bit more hoppiness to them, are quite different from when they originally came out. They originally were brewed mostly with coke-fired malt, which produced less smoking and roasting of the barley, which created the lighter colored paler ales. And it was brewed in England and eventually exported to India by George Hudson's Bow Brewery, and eventually it became popular amongst the East India Trading Company, and eventually got brought to the US and Canada. So it's been very popular beer for a long time now, and a very tasty one. So this company has been doing good, and they hit the nail on the head with this one, so it's pretty good. Pound that back. Now, Hyperkin's Retron HD1 is being held as a very viable replacement, stand-in for the rare and hard-to-find NES Classic Mini. Of course, it doesn't have installed games or anything. You have to use your original cartridges, but the cool thing is that it plays most NTSC or American games, and also plays most PAL games, but that's via switch on the bottom. Now, it's supposed to have HD audio and video, 720p, and it's supposed to have a high compatibility. So there should be very few games that don't work with it. It uses a 16:9 or 4:3 aspect ratio, which is good. It comes with a nice controller with a 10-foot of cable. It's got a 3-foot HD cable that comes with it, a 6-foot micro USB charge cable to power it, and also includes AV ports and an AV cable. So this is the Retron HD. The box feels nice. It looks nice. Made it look like a old school NES, so they did some nice touches. And let's see. Let's go open this up. Let's see how this looks. So we're going to just open this on up, and we're going to test it out and see how well it really does work and feel. All right. So I got this thing open. The first thing I notice is a little HD Retron. Oh, okay. So this thing is quite small. Okay, so it's got the flaps. It's got the little space where the cartridge goes. It's got on the bottom the NTSC/PAL switch. And it's got the HD, or it's got the different aspect ratios, and it's got all the ports in the back. So as advertised. Of course, it's got a connection for the, looks to be highly compatible with the original peripherals. And it's light, but it's not too light. It doesn't feel, it's light, but it doesn't feel chintzy. Like it doesn't feel like a Fisher Price toy, so that's nice. Set that down. And here's the controller. That feels actually good response. Yeah, that actually feels pretty crisp buttons. They're pretty nice and springy. Pretty stiff. So it looks like they actually did, and it's very comfortable. It's kind of bezeled and back to add a little bit of comfort to it. That kind of a tapered ends. Feels a little bit nice. It feels a little bit more comfortable than the original NES controllers, but still looks like a lot like it. So that's a neat touch. That feels good. And we've got looks to be what powers the device. Cable. It's got the cables in here. It's got the HD. It's got the, which we're not going to be bothering with these tonight at all. Put those back in the box because I am not going to use those right now. So we're going to be mainly focusing on the HD in this. So we are going to get to that in a few moments. So let's see how, we're going to test a few games and we're going to see how this handles up with the compatibility. We're going to try a few games here. All right. Well, let's get to it. Well, this is Super Mario 2 and it loaded right up without any problems. This is on the aspect ratio of 16:9. And it looks like it's still pretty good. It looks like stuff's kind of pulled a little, stretched a little bit, but it's not bad. The colors are all right. It's a little washed out, but not bad. So it responds well. It's not slowed down. I don't notice any delays. So this part of it's pretty good. As you can see, I'm just kind of cruising around, testing out the button functionality, just playing around. So that's not bad right there for this little device. Oh, secret door, little mushroom. Yeah, I'm learning a few things. Learning a few things as I go. And this was the Super Mario 2, aka Super Mario USA, which came from Doki Doki Panic, because in Japan they thought we weren't skilled enough to get the real Super Mario 2, which became released here as the Lost Levels. So this was Super Mario 2 or Super Mario USA in Japan, but this is a really good Super Mario game. I really enjoyed the Super Mario game overall, so that was not too bad. Next is Adventure Island. So we're going to pop that in. Here we go, and the color's a little washed out, and so I'll start off, and ooh, yeah. He's blending right in. He doesn't have the definition from the background, so his shorts kind of just bleed right into it. So this is once again the 16:9 aspect ratio, and yeah, the colors, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of just washed out a little bit, and he's kind of blending into the. Well, it's a little glitchy here and there. A few little articles and cubes disappearing there. Pixels disappearing, but still not bad so far. Like I said, the old NES is still sometimes takes a little, the old trick, pull it out a few times, but it started the first time without any problems. So the game starts up really well. So these couple of games I popped in here, not a single hiccup with starting them. And of course, I am playing on a high def television, so ooh, there's some graphical articles there. So there's a few little glitches when playing and doing the game capture. So that was interesting. Didn't notice it so much on the TV, so maybe it's with the game capture that I have, but still pretty interesting. You're still seeing some of that glitching here and there, so it's not perfect. It's probably because it's converting over and upscaling to HD to 720, and typical old NES games were at a 240p scale, so not bad for a little box like that. $39 box, you know, it's not like $100, you know, or $300 upscaler like a FrameMeister, so built in. So, okay, so this one you're going to notice the black borders around it. It's because I'm trying out the 4:3 aspect ratio, so it looks a little bit more true to form. Color's still a little washed out, a little different than I remember from the original. So this is Metroid, another classic. And it looks pretty good, other than the color being a little bit off to me and just a little bit washed out still. The audio doesn't sound bad. You can't hear it because I've recorded over it, but it's all right. It's not spectacular audio, but oh, there we go. Nope, the software glitched. Anyway, so overall, I mean, this is only a $39 option to the NES Classic Mini. And of course, it depends on your library rather than just 30 games pre-installed. So for 39 bucks, I mean, this is not a bad deal. I mean, and without having to go find a CRT or an older television with older connections, you could at least put it up to 720p, and it works on modern television. So it's not too shabby for 39 bucks. I mean, it's not groundbreaking. It's not like adding RGB and SCART connections to your old systems. It's not adding extra modding for audio or anything else, but it's not a bad option at all, especially if you want to crack out some of those old games, try to preserve some of your old systems, heck, just letting the kids play and have fun and experiencing the old games from our childhood. So overall, not too bad. Not too bad. So that was the Hyperkin Retron HD1, and it's not bad for a little $40 device. So you're getting a lot of value. I mean, you can play your old games. It's compatible with most. All the ones I've tried so far have worked, so I haven't found any that aren't compatible. I don't have any PAL games to test out the PAL feature, but you got your choice of aspect ratio. Fill the screen with 16:9, or try to play it true to life at 4:3. Audio isn't bad, and the upscaling isn't bad, but it tends to wash out the colors, wash out the graphics a little bit. Some games, some parts of it tend to be indistinguishable, like the grass skirt of Higgs and Adventure Island with the background of the trees. A few little artifacts here and there, some glitching with the pixels disappearing and reappearing, some flashing of pixels, but I mean, it's not a professional upscaler. It's going from 240p graphics to 720, so with internal scaling like that, it's not bad. I mean, if you wanted really good upscaling, you'd have to get like a FrameMeister. They're about $300 a pop. So, and of course, you can always get into the RGB and SCART, but that's a lot of modding and it's pretty expensive. So $40, play your classic games on a modern TV, not bad. Fresh slice, this Otter Creek Brewery and beer, I highly recommend it if you're ever up in Vermont, or you just find them in any stores that carry beer. And around the Northeast Mid-Atlantic, you're going to find, at least some of them should have at least a few of the style of brews from there. So it's pretty neat. Like the Hyperkin device. So I would recommend, yeah, for $40. I mean, if you want to go back and just buy an original NES and you had the old CRT television, they're about $60 around here at least, and it goes up from there. You know, eBay, I've seen higher prices. So for $40, being able to play NTSC or PAL, choose your aspect ratio, modern TVs, not bad. I'd say that's pretty good. That's pretty good bet. Anyways, you guys have a great one. Good night. Prost.